Hey friends, this is Michael Bohm with Youth Apologetics Training. Today we're going to keep going with this series about alleged Bible contradictions. We're going to be looking at yet another one that the atheists love to put in our face in order to try and prove that the Bible is not written by God and it's filled with errors. Again, guys, I want to keep reiterating this. When an atheist says that the Bible has an error, the burden of proof is on them to show that there is no way to reconcile this alleged Bible contradiction. The whole point of showing a Bible contradiction is to show that God could not have written the Bible because there's an error in there. But if we can take the 2 verses or 3 verses in question or whatever, and think them through and bring them together in a way where they make sense and that there is no error, if it can be reconciled, then it's not a bona fide Bible contradiction. Again, the burden of proof is on them to show that there is no way to reconcile the verses. All right, so today we're talking about how many stalls and horsemen how many stalls of horsemen did King Solomon have? And I found this one on a Bible Contradictions website, a fairly prominent one. There are so many of them on the internet. And it's very obvious as you peruse through these well-written websites that you're going to find these guys haven't thought through anything. Basically, some guy comes up with a list of Bible contradictions, and then they all go and copy off this other guy, and they regurgitate. That's a hint as to which Bible contradiction will be the next one coming up the road. But sorry about that. They regurgitate the alleged Bible contradictions over and over and over. They don't think about what they're saying at all. They just want as much as they can to paint the Bible in a bad light. By the way, guys, you get this one for free. The new atheists do not dwell in the realm of thinking, careful thinking, logic, and gentleman-like debate, for lack of a better way of saying it. These guys generally use mockery and personal attacks more often than not. That is their form of debate. They will tear you down. They'll call you names. A lot of times they'll just burst out laughing or make a joke about you. And that's their form of argumentation. Unfortunately nowadays, at least here in America, most of us are so dumbed down that we think that's a good valid argument. As long as somebody on the news made fun of you, or Richard Dawkins from his podium cracked a joke about those funny Christians, this or that, they feel like that's a good argument, and that's reason enough. Unfortunately, they're not using their brains. And so, yeah, when you go through these websites, that's a lot of the stuff you're going to find. By the way, if you would like to send me your favorite alleged Bible contradiction or one that is bothering you, please do catch me on my website or Facebook or Google+, whatever. And get that to me, and I will make sure that that is the next one that I study and produce for you guys. So anyway, how many stalls and horsemen were there? How many did King Solomon have? Well, in 1 Kings chapter 4, verse 26, it says, Solomon had 40,000 stalls of horses for his chariots and 12,000 horsemen. All right, so he had, according to this verse, 40,000 stalls. But in 2 Corinthians 9:25, it says, and Solomon had 4,000 stalls for horses and chariots and 12,000 horsemen. Right, so at least the 12,000 horsemen part's matching, whom he bestowed in the chariot cities with the king at Jerusalem. So what is it? Is it 40,000 stalls of horses and chariots, like 1 Kings says, or is it 4,000 stalls for horses and chariots, like 2 Chronicles says? All right. What is it? Well, there are many ways to solve this, as I was perusing the internet, looking at different people's explanations, and I already knew which way I was going to go, but I like to hear different ways to solve alleged Bible contradictions, and personally, I would prefer to serve as many of them as I can find up to you guys so that you can realize there's lots of ways to put this together. First and foremost, the one that I most certainly disagree with is the infamous copyist error. I hate when people say there's a copyist error, but there's lots of websites out there that say that. And let's face it, how easy would it be to simply miss a zero? Instead of 40,000, you accidentally forgot a zero and it's 4,000, or the other way around. There were only 40,000, but you accidentally wrote an extra zero. Maybe you were tired. I don't know. So anyway, there's that. The copyist error explanation. I don't like it. How about this one? First Kings was written long before Second Chronicles. All right. And that difference in time, First Kings, there might have been 40,000 stalls at the time of Solomon, but long after that, there only existed 4,000. I don't like that one either. That just feels like stretching to me, but it is a potential way to solve this problem. How about this one? And this is the one that I'm going to say, this is it. All right, and if you read how the King James, I purposefully did not read the King James when I read those verses to you. Why? Because all the newer versions insert some words here that shouldn't be there. They're not there in the original Hebrew. So let me read it in the King James. Again, I prefer the King James. I do not say it's inerrant. It could be, but I don't think so. I don't say it that way. I'll leave that for the scholars. I am not a super King James Bible only scholar. I am one of those that says it's the best that we have in English, and I will stand by that. And I will continue to use the King James because the other versions have some issues. Perhaps I'll do a series on it. I don't know. That one I'll probably get the most hate mail out of all of them. But anyway, let's read it from the King James. How does it say it in the King James Version? 1 Kings 4:26 says, and Solomon had 40,000 stalls of horses and for his chariots. He had 40,000 stalls of horses for his chariots. And in 2 Chronicles, it says Solomon had 4,000 stalls for horses and chariots. Okay, now we see a big difference here. In 1 Kings, he has 40,000 stalls for his horses that were for his chariots. Does that make sense? They were for the horses that were for the chariots. In 2 Chronicles, it is, he had 4,000 stalls for horses and chariots. Here's something else that's very interesting. When you look up the word stall in the Webster's 1828 dictionary, this is pretty interesting as well. Webster's 1828, when you want to look up a word that's in the King James Bible, the Webster's 1828 dictionary is the dictionary for you. Words have changed since 1611 when the King James Bible came out. And if you want to find a dictionary that most resembles the words of the King James, the Webster's 1828 is a sweet dictionary to have. If you download eSword, by the way, wow, what a commercial. eSword, it's a free Bible study software that you can download off the internet. That is a ministry worth throwing a tie at, let me tell you. That study software is awesome, and you can download the Webster's 1828 dictionary with it. What a deal. It's all free. Well, not all of it's free. You can pay for some stuff too. But the stuff that is most important on eSword is free. And then, yes, you can purchase some other components as well. I highly recommend eSword. That is the coolest software, and you can even get it on your iPhone. They have I think it's called ePocket Sword or something like that. I can't remember, but whatever the case, wow, stall. In the 1828 Webster's Dictionary, it says it's defined as a single stall for one horse or a stable consisting of 10 stalls. Wow. That's interesting. If you had stalls that had the ability to have 10 little sub-stalls in it with horses, if you can imagine this stall that was kind of like this mega stall. It had a chariot sitting there, and then it had 10 little sub-stalls around it with horses. Man, that fits. That fits really well. You have 40,000 stalls for horses that are for chariots, but then you also have 4,000 stalls for horses and chariots. It works perfectly. So that's pretty much it, guys. Easily solved alleged Bible contradiction. Could be a copyist error. I doubt it. It also could be a difference in the time of the two books being written and what was true at the time of the writing of the particular books. I don't buy that either. Or, if you look at it from the King James Version, one verse, 1 Kings, says that it was 40,000 stalls for horses. And the horses were for the chariots, right? And 2 Chronicles says 4,000 stalls for horses and chariots. Awesome. I will place links on today's post to the various ways that you can solve this that I found, that I spoke about today. And so that is that. If you like what I'm doing, you can support me by sending a check to this is P.O. Box 2392 Loveland, that's Loveland, that's all one word, Colorado 80539. I would certainly appreciate that. You guys can catch me on my website, youthapologeticstraining.com. You can leave comments and questions there. I do want to talk to you. You can also catch me on Facebook, Google+, or Twitter. And with that, I love you guys, and I'll see you tomorrow.